Okay, so, okay, so we are going to go ahead and go over the couple of questions that you asked in your email. Um, so give me a second. So your first question was regarding the question about John desiring the best things in life, a fast car, designer clothes, so on and so forth. So this is related to string theory, which obviously you know because you were still rationalizing your answer versus the answer that the book said was correct. So let's go ahead and look at string theory real quick. All right. So when we look at Merton string theory, right, there are five types of responses to strain or adaptations to strain. And your question focuses on this concept of whether it's innovation or rebellion. So, when we talk about string theory, we're talking about accepting the means of society or accepting the goals of society and accepting the means in which to achieve those goals. Okay. So, if you want that fast car, right, that's still a goal in society to have something that's a material object, right? A status symbol. So, that's the goal that you want. But the means, right, the socially appropriate or socially approved means of achieving those goals would be to get a job, um, right? Get a job, go to school longer so you can get a good paying job, or save your money, get a loan. Those are all culturally, socially acceptable ways to get that car. Okay. So that's conformity. So we don't have, so your question isn't about conformity, right? The next one is innovation. And when it comes to innovation or to innovators, they still want those culturally accepted goals, right? They still want those aspects of society that society says, yeah, you should want these things. But instead of going about it the way that society says you should get it, they find an alternative way. They innovate or create a different way or different means to get that object, or to get that goal, or to get to that goal. Okay. Now let's jump down to rebellion, since that was your answer. All right. Now rebellion is that people reject the goals of society, right? They don't want that fast car. They don't want that house. They don't want that high paying job, right? And because in addition to rejecting those goals, they also reject the methods of achieving those goals. Okay. So they reject the house, they reject the car, they reject all those different things that society says we should want, and they reject the method in which we should achieve those things. Instead, they create new goals, okay, and a new way of achieving those goals. So a rebellion is something similar to, let's say, um, the hippies of the 1960s, right? Their goal at the time wasn't war, their goal was peace. So they went about a different way of achieving their goals through peaceful protesting, right? Same thing with any terrorist attacks. A terrorist does not like the way a society operates. So they want to eliminate how that society operates, reject the way that society operates, and then re and restructure that society with new goals, right? And then methods of achieving those goals. So the reason why your answer was incorrect is the because John still wanted those things in life that society says we should want, right? He still wanted that car. He still wanted nice clothes. He still wanted all of those things. So he didn't reject the goals of society, right? He still accepted the goals of society. So that's why the answer is innovation, because he still accepted the goals of society, but he went through a different route to get there. Almost always are criminals, most criminals are our innovators, which is why we spend so much time talking about innovation for a lot of things. Um, There are some positive innovators, but for purposes of this course, a lot of our criminals will be our innovators. So whenever you see someone committing any type of crime in any of your examples or any of your or anything else in this course, um, more than likely it's going to be an innovator. The only exception to that rule will be our retreatists. Okay, and our retreatists aren't so much a um, they're not so much a criminal, so to speak, or a lawbreaker, so to speak, but our retreatists are people who remove themselves from society. And a negative way to remove yourself from society is to engage in drugs and alcoholism. So you're rejecting the goals of society, you're rejecting the means to get that, but you're not doing anything else. The only thing you really care about is your next high or your next hit or whatever. Okay. There are positive retreatists, such as like monks or other like religious orders that reject the goals and means of society. Um, and they don't want to create new goals for society. They just isolate themselves from society, right? They retreat away, move away from society. Okay. So hopefully that helps you understand why innovator was the correct um, answer instead of rebellion. So your second question goes all the way back to the front, and I'm going to click really, really fast. I hope you don't get dizzy. We're going to go all the way back. And there's probably an easier way to do this, but we're just going to keep going all the way back here. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so your second question was about social control. Um, so the question on your quiz was the group's usual and customary social arrangements on which its members depend on and which they base their lives is called what? And you said you put social guidelines where the book says social order. All right, so technically, I mean, so social guidelines was one of those answers that is similar to the right answer, but it's meant to be there to throw you off. It's not really anything. All right, so it's not really a real term that we use in in criminology. Okay, so the answer is social order, is or social control, or social order. So if you look at social control, social control are the societal and political processes that regulate behavior, leading to conformity, guidance, in leading to conformity and compliance to the rules of a given society. Right. So that's social control. We use social control in order to maintain social order. And I guess I don't have a slide on that. Okay. We use social control to maintain social order. So the reason we have rules and norms and guidelines and all these other things is to maintain social order. So social control, why do I keep doing that? Social control is all about regulation, right? And this regulation is what helps us follow those rules. So the answer is social order. Social guidelines just isn't really a term that we use. It's just kind of there to throw you off. I didn't do that. That's from the publisher. But I can see why you're a little bit confused. But no, social order is the answer. And again, it's related to social control, in which social control is there to maintain social order. So looking at that slide again, okay, social control, political processes, societal and political processes that regulate behavior, leading to conformity and compliance, okay, to the rules of a given society. And those rules of a given society, right, and that conformity is called social order, okay? So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that answers your question. But as always, feel free to email me anything else, and have a great weekend. All right, bye.